Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. What do all these nations have in common, apart from the vowels A and I in their names? BRICS. Today, we'll be telling you the tale of an organization that was believed by some to be the force that would dominate the global economy in the near future. Welcome to Brownie Tales, where we tell you the stories you probably didn't know about the world around you. Make sure to like and subscribe, and turn on your notification bell to keep you updated on our new videos. Coined by Goldman Sachs Economist and member of the House of Lords of the United Kingdom, Jim O'Neill, in 2001, the BRICS initiative was simply to bring together the world's fastest-growing emerging market economies in order to create an organized force that would come to dominate global growth by 2050 and equal or even surpass the growth of the Big Seven economies: Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States. South Africa would join what began as BRIC in 2001, 9 years later. South Africa began efforts to join the BRIC grouping, and on the 24th of December 2010, on the invitation of China, they officially became a member nation and the group was renamed BRICS. Later in 2006, after Russia had officially initiated the creation of BRICS 5 years after it was coined, the first BRICS summit was held in New York City at the margins of the general debate of the UN Assembly on the 30th of September. It was attended by the foreign ministers of Russia, China, Brazil, and India, as well as the defense minister of India. A full-scale diplomatic meeting was held in Yekaterinburg, Russia, on June 16, 2009, with Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, Dmitry Medvedev, Manmohan Singh, and Hu Jintao as the respective leaders of Brazil, Russia, India, and China, all in attendance. The summit's focus was on improving the global economic situation and reforming financial situations, and it discussed how the four countries could better cooperate in the future. With the prospect of future global dominance, these BRICS nations offered a source of foreign expansion for firms and strong returns for institutional investors, who would hope to jump on the train of seemingly imminent success awaiting these nations. It was easy to see why these investors and institutions, most especially Goldman Sachs, had so much faith in the BRICS, seeing as they possessed a comparative advantage in the form of their lower labor costs, favorable demographics, and abundant natural resources at the time of the global commodities boom. Couple these with the fact that in 2013, just 12 years after BRICS was coined, they accounted for about 27% of global GDP in purchasing power and accounted for 42% of the entire global population, a combined population of 2.88 billion, plus the BRICS bloc covered 26% of the total land area of the Earth. With everything we've learned about the world so far, we know that to every good side, there is always a bad side, and the same goes for the BRICS. Despite the enticing statistics and staggering numbers, most of these countries are riddled with controversy. With troubling news of high amounts of corruption in some of these countries, coupled with high poverty, this leaves a question mark as to whether the organization can actually meet its goal of global dominance by 2050. To cap it all off, BRICS was seriously hit by the 2014 oil collapse and the global financial crisis, which caused the growth to slow down. It seemed as though Goldman Sachs quickly picked up on these clues, seeing as they eventually closed down Goldman's BRICS Investment Fund in 2015, merging it with a broader emerging market fund. The BRICS acronym no longer looked like a juicy apple to bite, as all funds aimed at these economies either shut down or merged with other investment vehicles. The BRICS are still considered the foremost rival to the G7 bloc of leading advanced economies. Various articles were even released by O'Neill's Goldman colleagues, one in 2003 titled "Dreaming with BRICS: The Path to 2050, where Dominic Wilson and Rupa Punishothaman claimed that by 2050, the BRICS cluster could grow to a size larger than the G7. And the second in 2007, titled BRICS and Beyond, that focused on BRICS growth potential, the environmental impacts of these growing economies, and also outlined the next 11, a term for the 11 emerging nations set to create a relationship with the BRICS. Despite all the ups and downs, the BRICS have increasingly formed a more cohesive bloc, with their governments meeting annually at formal summits and coordinating multilateral policies. China recently hosted the 14th BRICS Summit on July 24, 2022. Bilateral relations among the BRICS are conducted mainly on the basis of non-interference, equality, and mutual benefit. These BRICS nations also agreed to undertake measures for mobilizing sufficient resources in order to strengthen the IMF's potential to combat all kinds of crises. They also focused on some religious issues, including problems related to Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, and Iran. With all the recent issues going on in the world, some of these countries have continued to rise, making big advancements in health, science, technology, and manufacturing. To date, the scale of China's economy and the pace of its developments have outpaced those of its BRICS peers. China alone contributed more than half of the BRICS countries' share and greater than 15% of the growth in world economic output. China's development planning has targeted a number of scientific fields and related industries, including clean energy, green transportation, and rare earths, among others. Since 1999, China's research and development budget has grown by 20% annually to more than $100 billion. Seeing as there has been recent tension between world powers due to the war between Russia and Ukraine, tension has also been created between NATO and BRICS, despite the fact that BRICS is not a military alliance. NATO is a security alliance of 30 countries from North America to Europe with the fundamental goal of safeguarding allies' freedom and security through military means. The BRICS leaders recently held an online summit in 2022 on the 23rd of June. This summit was attended by Russian President Vladimir Putin and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Because two member countries, Russia and China, are hostile to the U.S., they are trying to strengthen cooperation among the BRIC countries. Chinese President Xi Jinping strongly criticized the U.S. and Europe for moving towards the expansion of NATO, saying some countries are seeking absolute security through the expansion of military alliances and are practicing self-reliance on a large scale, ignoring the rights and interests of other countries. If this dangerous momentum continues, the world will become even more unsettled and unstable. The meeting gave the impression of a divided international community ahead of the G7 and NATO summits, which were held one after another last June. Thus, although BRICS is not a military alliance, it has a confrontational relationship with NATO and the G7.